Committee Chairman Jason Smith. Jim Jordan, let me start with you. I smell a rat here, and I suspect the judge did as well. So we're to believe that this critically important point, that this deal would ensure there'd be no further prosecution for Hunter Biden. Somehow they had a misunderstanding on that point. I am not buying that for 1 second.
Yeah, no, this is now the fourth time that the DOJ story has changed. So David Weiss said first he had all this authority, then said, well, no, I don't. It's limited to my geographic, my U.S. Attorney's District. Then there was another letter on July 10th to Lindsey Graham saying, well, it's something different. And now we have this happen. And remember, Sean, the compelling thing that has happened in the last several weeks is two brave whistleblowers coming forward, Chairman Smith releasing their testimony publicly, and then them coming in front of Mr. Comer's Oversight Committee and testifying, and their credibility was unimpeachable. Their story has been consistent. Their facts have not wavered. Their testimony has been straightforward, and it's been validated by an FBI agent who we've interviewed. So what I really want to do, what the Judiciary Committee really wants to do, is get into who were those people at this now famous October 7th, 2022 meeting where David Weiss said he didn't have authority to bring to bring the charges wherever he wanted, asked for special counsel designation and was denied that by the Justice Department, and the Justice Department says something different. Mr. Shapley says this is what David Weiss said. The Justice Department said that's not what he said. We want to get to the other people in that meeting. Mr. Shapley, Mr. Weiss were in that meeting, and 5 other people were there. We want to talk to them, and that's what we'll be pursuing just as quickly as we can.
And they took contemporaneous notes at the time. All right, Chairman Smith, let me go to you, because what was unfolding last night was beyond bizarre, and that is the document that you had sent over talking about the whistleblowers, new evidence, why the judge should not go along with the sweetheart plea deal. And apparently a woman from Hunter's law firm makes a call to the clerk of the court and tries to get your document removed the night before it's going before the judge. And that didn't even get dealt with today?
That's exactly right, Sean. Yesterday morning, we had our attorney file an amicus brief before the court because we wanted to make sure the judge had the testimony of the 2 IRS whistleblowers that was before our committee, had credible information that needed to be provided. About an hour later, a young lady called the court and said that there was private Social Security information in our filing and it needed to be taken down, presented themselves to be working for my attorney. My attorney noticed it within a short period of time, contacted the court, figured that out. The judge actually figured out by caller ID where this came from, and that was a law firm of Hunter Biden's in New York. And the judge ordered those lawyers to respond to the court by 9 o'clock last night or face sanctions. It's absolutely incredible that it would go to this level. Let me tell you, these are the same attorneys, Sean, that the whistleblowers testified saying that they heard these attorneys tell prosecutors that if they brought charges against the president's son, they would be facing career suicide.
All right, let me go to Congressman Chairman Comer. So here, the evidence that you have uncovered in your committee, in your investigation, influence peddling schemes, mirrored in large part the evidence brought forth by the IRS whistleblowers. Now, the whistleblowers were prevented from interviewing any of the Biden family members. The president, maybe they can make a case for. Everybody else, I don't think they should have been able to make a case for. They allowed the statute of limitations also to pass. And then the FBI is tipping off Hunter Biden and his legal team on a very important issue that they were going to have a surprise visit and interview Hunter Biden. Explain to me how this judge could actually go along with this agreement with all of that new information out there and available.
Well, she couldn't, and the judge did the right thing. Today was a victory for justice in America. If anyone was watching the whistleblower hearing that we had in the oversight with the 2 credible whistleblowers, I mean, they laid out perfectly a series of crimes that the president's son had committed. It's not just about tax evasion, and the tax evasion that they're getting him on was just for 2 years for a W-2. It didn't even include all the shell company income that they've had that no one knows what the reasoning is behind the millions of dollars they've received from foreign nationals. It didn't include the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which is one of the things that we said back in January, Jim Jordan and I said was a clear law that the president's son had committed. You also have the money laundering. Remember, 6 banks filed reports with the Treasury Department that they suspected this family was involved in laundering money from state-owned entities. State-owned entities are foreign countries. So the list goes on and on and on. It's obvious to anyone who has any knowledge of the law that the president's son's committed a host of crimes, and all roads lead to Joe Biden. That's the other thing. And that was, I think, one of the most interesting things from the testimony that Jason Smith got in the transcribed interview and we heard in the hearing was they wanted to interview Biden family members, and they felt pretty strongly that this was directly linked to Joe Biden.
And
so
on Monday, your committee will take a sworn deposition from Devon Archer, the former business partner of Hunter Biden, and we expect him to testify that on 24 occasions, he can recall Joe Biden being used by Hunter to call into meetings with foreign business deals with the foreign business partners. The same Joe Biden that swore that he never once talked to his son about his foreign business dealings. Congressman Comer?
Yes, there's a lot of speculation that that's what he's going to say. But remember, one thing Jason Smith pointed out, these lawyers have intimidated many of the witnesses that we've tried to bring forward for depositions and transcribed interviews. And they've told them things like, you're only going to implicate yourself. We're not going to get in trouble. Hopefully the witnesses, like Devon Archer and the others who we're going to be bringing before the committee this summer, hopefully they saw what happened in that court today, and that these lawyers aren't going to continue to get away with the shenanigans that they tried to pull yesterday when they lied and said they were part of Ways and Means staff to get something removed. Those days are over, and we're in control of this thing, and I believe if these witnesses will come forward and tell the truth, I think the American people are going to be in for a big eye-opener with respect to Joe Biden.
Now, Congressman Jordan, your investigation in the Judiciary Committee is running in tandem with Congressman Comer's investigation into the Biden family businesses, and that is the weaponization and how the FBI has been politicized, weaponized, the DOJ has been politicized, weaponized. They didn't even want to hear from the whistleblowers, and they're willing to make that sweetheart deal. I don't think that's a deal that anybody else in America would be able to get. Does this now add to the long list of special treatment the Bidens have gotten?
Well, yeah, and the judge asked the fundamental question. She asked the prosecutors, she asked the folks from DOJ, has this kind of deal ever been put together before? Is this unprecedented? She asked, has it ever happened before? And the prosecutor's answer was, no, Your Honor. So it hasn't. He responded back, this is complete. This is why what Chairman Comer said, this is truly a win for equal application of the law, which is a hallmark of this great country, the greatest country ever. That's what we're supposed to focus on. And that was the motivation of Gary Shapley and Mr. Ziegler. They came forward because they saw unequal application of the law. That's why we want to talk to these folks, get all the facts, and then move forward from there.
And Chairman Smith, I'll ask you lastly here, with the IRS whistleblowers that we've heard from and those that are upcoming, it seems that they're going to contradict Prosecutor Weiss and his contention that he never said these things, that he didn't have the ability to bring cases in other jurisdictions. If there's 5, 6, 7, maybe more whistleblowers versus that one person, who are you going to believe?
Exactly. Sean, one important point is that the 2 IRS whistleblowers that came forward that testified in Jamie Comer's committee, their stories have stayed the same. The stories that have not stayed the same are those of Prosecutor Weiss and also of the Biden family. That is the issue. We have really credible whistleblowers come forward, and they're all singing from the same tune.
Wow. Great job, all 3 of you. And the walls are caving in now on the Biden family syndicate, that's for sure.